Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Prestream podcast. We've got an interesting segment on the podcast today. We're going to be talking about the leaking of the entire, well, possibly, the entire Street Fighter 6 roster. Today is my marathon react event, reacting to the John and Howard video from 2015. I am not monetizing any portions of today's stream, nor am I monetizing any of the on-demand videos regarding reacting to the John and Howard video. All right? There'll be no ads. There'll be no leaderboard. There'll be no pop-ups. All right? None of that. All right? If you wish to support my streams and my content and my videos, please do so now during the pre-stream, or in the middle of today's stream. There will be a segment, Feasting with the King.
His hunger is ravenous. He will devour. Devour.
So, alright, Eternal, you're gone, because you have been being fucked up for days and you're gone, you're not coming back. I will not be doing drama content like this again anytime soon. After today, after this is put to bed and we finally get this at rest after many, many years of it being kind of a lingering issue and thing that people wanted an answer on, from now on when people say to me, Phil, what do you think about John and Howard? What happened with that situation? Will you ever do stuff in the future? Yada, yada, yada. I will say, watch the John and Howard reaction. I did a whole giant project on it. All right? And that's my response to that. And then we're just going to move on positively. I am not going to be dwelling on the past.
But at least as of now, the way I see it, it's over with, right? I've said my piece. You've seen things from my perspective. You don't have to believe it. You don't even have to like it. But at least it's out there now and it's done with, you know? And as I said yesterday, that is my last piece on that, all right? From now on, if you guys say, what about John and Howard? I say, what about him? I did an 8-hour show on him. Go watch it. And leave me alone. So, shout-outs. We start off with, we did a $10 super chat to start today off. So even though I've seen that John and Howard video from years before, seeing you react to it and giving us context makes me think that I just don't want to go back and watch your old content from that time, no offense. Well, again, I've already said this, but I'll say it again. I can look back at the past and all those times that we had together, including all the gameplay we did, the conventions we traveled to and enjoyed going to together and hanging out at, the Project 7 experience of filming and creating this creative series and all of that. You know, I can basically say, I can look back at it fondly because I lived it. I was there at the time when it was happening, and those were positive times. It wasn't like, oh, it looked positive to the camera, but then behind the scenes we're all grumpy and hated each other. That's not the case at all. It's quite the opposite, actually, where at that point in our lives, we were all having an incredibly great time doing all of it. And so that's how I'll always remember it. You know what I mean? The super chat says, you've always been fair to John and Howard, it was their fault. That I don't believe at all. If you watch my react, it's completely the opposite of what I say there. I do not think that's the case. I think it's a situation where, I mean, really, and I don't know if I even said this yesterday, I felt like the moment that I announced I was moving, that was the doom of it all. Because, number one, if there's already feelings of resentment, right, that I'm not aware of, that, you know, I'm successful on YouTube, I'm making money on YouTube, and these guys are upset, right, that they feel that they're not getting anything out of anything on YouTube, including stuff of mine that I've been in and all of that. I mean, it's funny, again, how many times, I would really like someone to go and count in that video, how many times money or income was mentioned by those guys, who at the beginning of the video say it's not about money, but literally like 50% of the video, the subject matter is money, okay? But the way I see it is, the moment I moved, there was no chance of that friendship continuing. All right, there's already these feelings of resentment or whatever. The only way you're ever gonna hash those out is in person. The only way you're ever gonna have things settled is to have things happen, you know, not remotely, not through a text or a phone call or an email or a Skype call, person to person. You know, like I said, my best interactions I ever had with those guys, John in particular, was person to person. Every week when he came over to do content with me, we had a whole hour to 2 hours that we would just talk before we even turned on a fucking camera. And it was funny because we would do Smart Guys and upload it, and we would do gameplay and upload it. And some weeks we were like, where the fuck is Smart Guys? What's taking so long? Like, well, we had a conversation, we were having fun, you know, just shooting the shit before we filmed, so it took a little bit longer this week. You know, deal with it, man. It's not a big deal. Another anonymous tipper, Timmy $1.50, says, it doesn't make sense to me. They felt that way against talking about John and Howard. After Project 7, they would continue to do co-op or even go to your party. Again, that was kind of the point I was making, is people are like, oh, well, you know, they had all these issues with you. You just should have known. You should have known that they wanted money. You should have known that they didn't like this and didn't like that and this and that. And it's like, I'm not psychic. Not, you know, I wish I was. Because if I was, I would have said, hey, something going wrong. Let's bring it up and get it out of the way. Like I said at the time, I gladly would have paid them if they really were needing money for being involved in Project 7. I don't care. Just take it. I made nothing on it. I don't care. Just take the money. Because that way we can be happy together and have this resentment. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing is Project 7 was 2012. I didn't move till mid-2014. It wasn't like, oh, they were upset about Project 7 and everything came to a screeching halt. It was like, no, John Still Weekly was coming to my house. We were doing Smart Guys. We were doing gameplay. We still continued to travel to conventions and things together. You know, we were traveling. I mean, shit. We went to WrestleMania. We went to Screwtack Gaming Convention. That was in 2013. That was the next year. So the question is, if there were so many issues in 2012, how did everything continue as normal in 2013? And again, all you can do is guess. You know, I get the feeling that there were some people involved like Howard and Respect the Pact who were angry at the situation for certain reasons. I don't think John was angry about Project 7 really at all after the fact, but I moved, right? And when I moved out of Connecticut to Washington, I was now separated from those guys. And what happens? Oh, it's an us versus him mentality now, you know? Oh, he's gone. We stayed behind. We're buddies. We stick up for each other. While he's gone, he took off, right? And as much as, you know, they can say, oh, well, there's no resentment that he moved. We wish him the best. At the same time, there's situations where John on his podcast says things like, so OJ, now you're not going to abandon me like that, right? I was like, wait, what? You know? And they reference so many times the circle of friends that they have in Connecticut. So their circle of friends are gossiping about me, are talking about me constantly, and essentially shitting on me constantly once I move. You see? So it's kind of like once that was it. I told you that the whole thing was destined to fail once I moved because that separation now creates an almost like him versus them mentality, which didn't exist on my end. All right, but apparently did to them. And it's just ridiculous that it got to that point. But you're right. Why? If there was all these feelings of resentment, pain, unfairness that they had against me, how on earth did we continue to do things together? Doesn't make sense, right? So anyway, it is what it is.
And I'll be honest, a lot of this today is going to be very damning to me. All right? It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be many portions of this video that we're going to go through that I'm going to be fessing up to some pretty bad behaviors and or being a pretty shitty friend. Because in reality, looking back at the situation, I don't think I was very unfair to them business-wise. I think I was a shitty friend. It's all right. But I don't want to talk about that the whole pre-stream. We got other shit to talk about, all right? First of all, I once again want to say thank you guys for the positive reaction to my very first DSP Reacts live event that I did a few days ago to the state of play that Sony put out. And people now are kind of geared up to see me do more. There will be more coming up. This coming Thursday, which is the 9th, June 9th, at 11 a.m. Pacific time, is Summer Games Fest. And I'll be covering it in full live here on the stream. And then there's another one. I think it's on the 12th, so 3 days later, and that's the Microsoft and Bethesda showcase, and that's at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And I will be reacting live to that one as well. So I'm not doing a PC game showcase, a future game showcase. There's all these little ones and things. I don't really have any vested interest in those.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so first off, the schedule for the week.
Tomorrow we go back to regularly scheduled gameplay. It's going to be Skyrim Anniversary Edition on the first stream, okay? Then, once that's done, because I don't know how long it is, we're going to be doing the Dawnguard DLC. Tomorrow night, the late stream will be the continuation of The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past. Then on Monday, WWE 2K22 My Rise. And then Monday night, Uncharted 2 Endgame, okay? I will not be here on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we'll go back to Skyrim as the main stream. And then that night, Wednesday night, Endgame content of Zelda. Thursday is what I just mentioned. Thursday is the day when we're going to be doing the live react to Summer Games Fest. And then Friday is a double new release day. This is June 10th. We got The Quarry, followed by Mario Strikers Battle League. This is going to bump our usual Friday night fights. We usually do Street Fighter on a Friday night. That's going to be bumped to Saturday night. Then that Saturday the 12th is the next react event, which is the Microsoft and Bethesda Showcase.
Okay, so the one final thing that I would like to talk about before we talk about Street Fighter 6 is this right here. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this has been astoundingly positive this month. Let us talk about Street Fighter 6. I already gave you my opinions on it yesterday. In a nutshell, I think so far it looks good. Alright, I can't tell you till we actually play it. Having the whole, what do they call it? Drive meter, having different abilities. You can parry, but you can do a counter, a reversal, or another cancel move, or whatever they are. That's good. But just having an ability to do various moves like that, instead of being set to one V skill, like it was in Street Fighter V, gives you variety of gameplay and control over the match that you didn't have in Street Fighter V. But today we're going to talk about the roster leak. So we start with the classics, meaning the original Street Fighter cast of Street Fighter 2. We got Ryu and Ken. Ryu is from Tibet. I never knew that. I thought he was from Japan. No. It's funny though, because he kind of, the way he's dressed here, you know, it almost looks like he's like a monk or something like that. Ken is wearing what appears to be a lengthy bomber style jacket. He's still wearing his his notable red pants, but that's about it. He's not wearing anything else. Zangief looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks like Zangief at this point, if you look at him, it looks like he returned to the pro wrestling circuit, right? You see, he's instead of wearing like tights, now he's wearing like full wrestling trunks. So now we kind of extrapolate upon that. We zoom back a little bit. You got Dalsim looking like an old man with a big bushy beard. Honda. Blanca's Blanca. I don't think Blanca's ever going to change. He's a mutated freak. Guile, I don't even know what's going on with Guile. Like, he kind of reminds me of fucking Van Damme. I should say this. The plot of Street Fighter 6 takes place after the plot of Street Fighter 3. Shadowloo is done. So these characters are off doing their own stuff. You know, we don't know what Guile will be up to in this, but it looks like he went back to the military officially, the way he looks here. And Chun-Li, out of the entirety of the original cast, Chun-Li looks the best. Why?
I like that.
Now, what we go into is returning characters who are not the original cast. Okay? We start off with Cammy. And it's funny because it says she's from Great Britain, which is correct. The character originally is from Great Britain.
Tyrone.
Now, obviously, I'm excited about that.
Tyrone.
He's one of my favorite characters in the original Street Fighter 2 series. He's actually one of the characters that I'm really good at in competitive play. And to see him return is actually surprising. Because he is... How can I say, like... He was always kind of like, oh, there's Guile, but then there's...
Tyrone.
And Guile's the better character in...
Tyrone.
He's
fucking cow.
Rashid, returning character for Street Fighter 5. And Jury. Okay, continuing on. The second half of the returning characters. And then, of course, Akuma. I mean, are you shocked that Akuma's back? Akuma will never not be in Street Fighter. Like, literally, everything could be going on in the game, and then you open a door, and Akuma's in there in a stall taking a shit. People never will let go of Akuma. They want Akuma to be taking a shit. How does he look? I mean, his design is kind of a hybrid of a million other versions of Akuma. Personally, I thought his design in Street Fighter 5 was laughably bad. It looked like he had a fucking lion's mane. Have you ever seen a human taking a shit? I haven't. Now, we move on to new characters. So Luke from the United States, I guess he's the Jake Paul, right? He looked exactly the same as Ed. Stupid. Dumb. The next character is called Marissa. Or is it Marisa? Marissa? I don't know. A muscular fighter from Italy. There is his name... How do you pronounce it? Marissa? Or is it Marisa? Marissa? The next character's name is... Mimi. M-I-M-I. Mimi. It's supposed to be a French fighter. So this character, I believe, there's actually disagreement about the name of this character. Some people are saying her name is Marissa, and some people are saying her name is Marissa. She is from Mexico.
Those Mexicans, they're so busy eating those bean burritos.
I hope she's not a complete cultural stereotype like fucking El Fuerte was. El Fuerte, quite frankly, could be considered quite offensive when he's jumping and saying tortilla pop and fucking burrito kick and shit. It's like, the fuck? Like, Japan, hey Capcom Japan, hi, can you not be that ridiculous? Like, can you, like, at least give some respect to culture? The next character is called JP. But he's supposed to be from Russia. The next character, Kimberly. Alright. A fighter from the US with colorful street clothes and a Walkman. I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. And then the last character, called AKI, or Aki. I mean, obviously she looks like a villain. Just take a look. She's supposed to be Chinese. So you almost feel like JP is the antagonist and she's the second in command or the henchman. Much like how in the original Street Fighters it was Bison was the guy in charge, and then he had his big three under him with Marisa, and Marissa. So maybe she'll be one of the newcomer characters who will be working for JP. I'm guessing. I mean, I have no idea. I have no information about any of this. I'm just, guessing. So, What do I think of these character designs? Based. All right, so guys, before we end the pre-stream, we got to see what food we're ordering and figure out what we're ordering. Let's take a look at the poll that you guys have been voting on. Overnight, you guys may not realize this, Vietnamese became the leader by 1%. And ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Poke Bowls got 29% of the vote. Szechuan Chinese got 35% of the vote. And with over 1,300 people voting, I'm taking a shit. I've always wanted to try banh mi sandwiches. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we've got it set. Here's what I'm going to be eating on Feasting with the King later today. Papaya beef fresh rolls. I believe that said it had a like a soy vinaigrette dipping sauce. Oxtail pho. And ahi tuna and avocado banh mi sandwich. Yummy!
Yummy!
All right, let's end the pre-stream. I have a little bit more setup to do. I'm going to run, like I said, I'm going to order food with my wife, and then we're going to come back and get started, all right? Thank you guys. Great pre-stream today. Excellent. Excuse me.